Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know why I did it in a strange order then, but thank you very much for joining me. And my name is Phil. Joining us for this Radio.co live demo and Q&A. Thank you very much for joining me. During the course of the next 50, 60 minutes or so, I'm going to be giving you a guided tour of the platform. So we're going to cover all the basics of what Radio.co is all about, so you can see, if starting an online radio station is something completely brand new and previously alien to you, you're going to have a look at how easy it is to actually do through our platform. So I'm going to go through guidance on how it all works. So let's lift this a bit up so I'm looking a bit more straight. So I'm going to give you through some of the guidance on how to best get started, all the best practices, how you would upload your content, how you would build your playlists, and obviously the most important thing, how on earth do people listen to this station? So I'll go through all of that. After that, I'm going to cover some questions. So there was a form in an email that's been going out for the last sort of week or two. And a lot of you have submitted your own questions already. So I'm going to go through a few of those first. But if you have any burning questions that I'm just not answering at all during the course of this demo, please, wherever you're watching it, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook Live, please enter your questions in there, send them in, and I will answer as many as I possibly can. Obviously, I'll try and answer them all. Can't always guarantee it, but don't worry, there will be ways to get hold of me already. I'd also like to say thank you very much for your praise in the last sort of special demonstration that I did with our colleague Pete from the technical support team, where we discussed for an hour the how to launch a community radio station and sort of talk about our experiences and our guidance on how to effectively launch and manage your very own community radio station. We had a great reception. We enjoyed doing it. So, we are looking at doing very similar things like that again going forward. If you have ideas of what you would like myself or my colleagues to cover during these demonstrations, whether it's a live one like I'm doing here or a more in-person one with colleagues in the office, please let me know. Just send an email, studio@radio.co, or leave a comment on our YouTube or Facebook channel. And any good suggestions we're always open to, and anything that we can offer to really help you get the most out of your online radio station. Anyway, enough fluff, Phil. Let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen now. Oh, thank you very much, Jack. There we go. So as I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the basics of how to get your own online radio station launched and managed very easily and professionally through our platform, which is Radio.co. Okay, so let's jump on my screen here. So what you'll see here is this is your Radio.co dashboard. And what this is a general overview of what you will see every time you log into your account. Other people that are associated with your account, your DJs, for example, they'll see something like this. There are levels of restrictions that people will see depending on what level of access they have. And I'll go through those right at the end. But for now, this is a general overview. And how you get here, it's actually very simple. You just follow our the pricing page on our website, Radio.co. We have 5 subscription plans. Each of them give you all the essential tools for broadcasting. Where they differ is just in terms of things like how much storage space you may have or how much bandwidth you may have. Some of them have exclusive features. Some of them have inclusive mobile apps at no extra cost. But generally, they all give you the essentials for broadcasting, even our cheapest plan. And you can always upgrade and downgrade your plans anyway. But what you do is you find the plan you want, click on the Start Trial button, follow those instructions, and literally in about 3 minutes, you'll see this, your dashboard. So what's going on here? First of all, there is this. This is your on-air, off-air button. As it suggests, you can turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off again. Typically what people do is they turn it on and then they leave it on. And the reason being is because the software itself is all entirely cloud-based. So what that means is you can leave your station on and turn your computer off, turn your internet off, because it's actually our servers that are powering it for you. So we'll keep your station broadcasting 24/7. With it all being cloud-based as well, it also means there's nothing to install or download to access your station. You simply create an account and log into it from any computer from anywhere in the world. How cool is that? But ultimately, as long as it says on air, rest assured your station is broadcasting globally and 24/7. Now, this information at the top here is relevant if you wanted to do some live broadcasting. So what you see here is connection status. So that just means, are you, the host, currently connected to the software in order to do a live show? Now, if you're like me, I'm not doing a live show at the moment. It will say not connected. But if you are doing a live show, you need to change that so it says live or connected or on air. And the reason, the way you do that is you just come to where it says download broadcaster. And what that is that it's an extra little piece of software that you do need to download. But all it does is it just details what information that you need to send to Radio.co. So that can be what DJ or which person rather is doing the live show and what device are they using, such as what mixing desk or headset or something like that. So you need to open this up every time you do a live broadcast, and there we go. It's as simple as getting connected in about 30 seconds. This is exclusively for Windows devices. So if you're a Mac user, you'd come to connection details and you'd enter this information here, and you will enter that into another broadcasting tool called BUTT or BUTT, or the full name, broadcast using this tool. Download that and you can find more information about that on our help center, help.radio.co. As I said before, this information is relevant depending on which subscription plan you take, and it will always keep a live tracker so you know exactly how much you're using and how much you have left. And then this just shows you, as it suggests, what's currently playing or what's coming up next. So I'm going to go to the media tab here. And this is probably where you'll end up going first, as this is where you upload your content. And you can upload anything you like, so music, podcasts, interviews, jingles, ads. As long as it's an MP3 or an AAC file, you can upload it. And what you do is you just come to the Add Media button at the top here, select your files, and there we go. Just select them and upload them. You can also drag them onto this screen as well. If you are wanting to upload large batches of files or just large files in general, you'll find it much easier to go to FTP. And that's an additional way to upload content. I like to say it's more of an aggressive way of uploading content because you can upload, I say, large and many files quite quickly. So you will come with your own FTP server information, and you can find more information about uploading via FTP, again, on our help center, help.radio.co. But regardless of how you upload your content, all your tracks will appear in a long list like this. And you'll see that some of these tracks have these brightly colored labels attached to them. And what they are is they're what we call tags. And what these do is they help you, first and foremost, organize your media. So you can see I've got lots of different tracks here. Some I've classed as pop. I've got some classed as R&B, advert, podcast. And these are labels that you will create yourself. These aren't ones that we give you because, you can literally type in anything you want. So if I was to highlight, these 3 tracks here. Say, for example, these were, 90s grunge tracks, something like that. You would just highlight them, type in something like 90s grunge, something like that. Click add. It will create that tag and attach it to those tracks just like that. And, you can literally, as I say, type in anything you want. You can be as broad or as specific as you like, but it's always best to tag all of your tracks, particularly in the long run, because it will save you a lot of time and effort. And I'll show you some of the ways you can use them later on. But first and foremost, it's a great way of organizing. And this can work for both music and talk content. If you've got interviews from different years or covering different topics, tag them. There's nothing wrong with doing it, because when you do tag your tracks, you'll come to the tags option on the left and you'll see a list of all your tags and how many tracks are associated with each one. So 90s grunge, how many tracks are there? 3. What tracks are they? Click on the tag and you'll see them just like that. So it's a great way of organizing, but you can actually use these to build random playlists, which I'll get onto a little bit later. Making my way down again, we've got our recordings. What this is for your live shows. So any live broadcast you do, regardless of whether it's talk or music, can be scheduled to record. So as soon as you come off air, you will have an MP3 file of that entire show. So I can take this file, this 4-hour file, I could download it onto my computer just to personally archive it. If I have a podcast or I want to turn it into a podcast, we actually have a sister company, Radio.co, and you can upload it directly there instead. And, it just means any podcasts, they can only really be talk shows, shouldn't include music in podcasts at all. But when you do upload it, it can then gradually be appearing on Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts. So podcasting is a great way of expanding the reach of your audience and repackaging your shows in a more unique way. You can also publish it to Mixcloud if it's a music show. Publish it directly there and people can listen to it on demand. Or, of course, you can place these files in your playlists and repeat them If someone missed the show and it was live last night, why not replay it again tomorrow night? Voice tracking. This is a fantastic tool, very easy way of recording short form content directly into Radio.co. And by short form, I mean, short length. It can be a maximum of 10 minutes long. So, you can record intros to your shows, introductions to songs. You could talk for 10 minutes. You could interview someone for 10 minutes. Some people use this tool as a way of easily recording their adverts or their jingles. It's basically a recording booth that you'll always have access to. And I'll show you how it works when I begin building my playlist. As I say, we've got tags here. Relays, that allows you to schedule a live feed from another online radio station. As long as you have the URL for that station, you can schedule it as if it's one of your own shows. So it's a great way of syndicating content between friends, family, and just partners all over the world. Talk shows. This is a fantastic tool that is available in our Gold and our Pro plans, and one that I do strongly recommend you checking out. Now, not to be confused, talk shows, you can do them on any of our plans. You can do a talk show on our cheapest plan. But this is alluding to a specific tool that makes doing your pre-recorded talk shows arguably a lot easier to manage. What you do is you create a room. I've got one here called Phil Demo, or a show rather. It comes with its own unique invitation link, and I will send that to my guests or my co-hosts. When they click on that, they'll be taken to kind of like a green room where they can see the name of the show, and they're just waiting for me to let them in. And they can access that from their mobile phone or their computers. You, on the other hand, will go into your Radio.co account. You'd click on Start Session, and you'll be able to see any of your guests waiting here. You'll invite them in. Once they're all there, you'll be able to hear them and chat to them. You select the microphone you want to use. They would have done that on their end. When everyone's there, click on the record button and you can record up to 60 minutes. So it's a fantastic way of recording podcasts, interviews, discussions, or just quick pre-recorded shows. So you can record up to 60 minutes. It's not for live programming, strictly just for pre-recorded this, but it's a fantastic tool and one that you should definitely consider, upgrading to the Gold or Pro plan to make use of it. And of course, any shows that you've finished will be saved here and you can place them into your shows to actually broadcast them. And the final feature that we have here that I'm going to show you is our news. So this is our news bulletin builder, and this allows you to schedule automated news bulletins at the top of any hour you like. Now, we don't supply news sources, so you will need to find one yourself, but it must just be an MP3 stream, very similar to what we've got here. As long as it's an MP3 stream, you can enter it in, you can test it out, and if you're happy with it, great. If you're looking for a service to use, Feature Story News is a great news source that does supply their news in MP3 streams. All you do is you then build an intro and an outro. It could be a jingle, it could be a top of hour stinger, it could be a bit of music. It's totally up to you. But you build this news package, and then you tell the software how frequently you'd like it to play. So is it every day, every hour, or is it every hour between certain times? Again, you can choose the days, you can choose the times. And this will automatically fade in during any automated segment of your show. So if you've got playlists, they will fade out, this will fade in, and then your playlist will then resume from where it left off. So it's, again, fantastic tool to think about, and this is available in at least our silver plan. Okay, so enough about features. Let's talk about shows. How do we build our shows? Well, to do that, we come to playlists. And this is for any show that isn't live. So when you're building an automated or pre-recorded show, you will come to playlists, and then you tell the software what time you want that playlist to play. It's as simple as that. Now you can see a couple of shows I've got already. I've got a breakfast show, classic rock, podcast and R&B, but there's this one here, the default playlist, and you will actually have this in your account when you create it. The reason being is because we've made that default playlist do a very, very important job. The job that it does is it will actually automatically fade in during any gap in your schedule. And what that means for you is you don't have to schedule content every single hour of every single day. It's not necessary. Anytime there's a gap, this default playlist will automatically fade in and take over. So that just means, as I said, you don't need to spend so much time and effort scheduling something for every single hour. You could schedule a show once a day, even once a week, even. Some stations do that. Every other hour of that day or week will be automatically filled by whatever's in this default playlist. So if you fill that with plenty of content, music, old shows, jingles, whatever you like, it will just play it on loop for as long as it needs to. So your default playlist will be empty, but just move as much content over to it as you like. It will really, really benefit you. It's probably our secret weapon. Now, to build a show, you just need to give it a name first of all. I'll keep it nice and simple. I'll just call this one Phil's Show. There you go, nice and original. Got a nice colour. There you go, lovely. Click on the add button. And when you do, it takes you to your playlist builder. So you can see this is the name of my show and this is its length. Now, to add tracks to my playlist, I just need to click on the plus button next to anything I've uploaded that I would like to play. And it automatically opens up on your tracks, which are what you've uploaded. I'm going to work my way down this list, clicking on the plus button like so. And you can see as soon as I do, it jumps straight across to my playlist. I can add in anything I like, and you know exactly what order my tracks are playing in. I know what's playing, of course, and I know, most importantly, how long this particular show is. There we go, just over an hour long here. If you're not happy with the order, don't worry, just move them around with the mouse. You don't need to add tracks into any specific order. Just add them all in together, move them around accordingly. Just like that. But you can see it's very, very easy to actually build a show. And what you'd include in this playlist is everything that you can expect to find in any typical radio show. So music, maybe, talk content, jingles, ads, whatever idea you have for your online radio station, build it as a pre-recorded way. Just move everything across and there we go. You just click on save and it's ready to go. But before I do that, I'm going to add in a couple more things to my playlist just to show you the different ways you can put it all together. So I mentioned before with tags, you can use them to randomize your playlists. So how you do that is you come to the tag section here on the left. You'll see tags and you'll see a list of said tags, the same list that I showed you earlier. The only difference is you can take these tags and now move them into your playlist. Put a 90s one there, a Northern Soul track there, and right at the bottom, 90s grunge that we made before. Now, what the software will do is when it gets to this tag in the running order, it will play a random track that's associated with that tag. So say I had 200 tracks tagged as 90s, it'll play a random one out of that. If I had 3 tracks labeled as 90s grunge, it will just play a random one out of that. And the software's clever. It will recognize every track it's played within that tag. So it means if you put the same tag multiple times in a row, it's always guaranteed to be different. Of course, permitted you have enough tracks in that tag. So if I put this 90s tag 200 times in a row, as long as I had 200 tracks, each time it will be different. The 201st time will be a track that's already played before, if that makes sense. So it will play every track once before any play for a second time. And the least amount of effort you need to build a playlist, this is really cool. If I wanted to build a 90s show, all I need to do is build a playlist that contains simply this. 190s tag. I can schedule that for 1 hour, and for 1 hour, the software will just keep playing a random back-to-back 90s track, just like that. So that's the least amount of time and effort you need to spend building a show. It took a couple of seconds just moving a tag over, and then we go click save, schedule it, and there we go, a random 90s show for an entire hour. Yeah. So there's really no excuse to tag and no excuse not to tag your tracks. Other things you can add into it, if I go to recordings, you'll find your old show. So I've got one here from the summer. If I want to play that, I can just move it across. And there we go. That's how you repeat a show. Simply move it across and then, that's it. Bob's your uncle. Of course, if you just wanted to play this show or you just had a pre-recorded show that you wanted to play, move the file over. Your playlist can contain, as many or as little tracks as you like. Talk shows, if you've recorded any of those talk shows in that feature, you can take them over, move it across in the exact same way. And then with voice tracks, as I said, these are ways of recording content up to 10 minutes in length just using your voice, or rather just using a single piece of equipment. Now, the best way to record them is to go to your microphone button at the top. So I'm going to click on that. Click on this red microphone button and it'll ask me to confirm what details I'm using to record, or rather, what equipment am I using. So I'm using this, which is my microphone plugged into my mixing desk here. So this will pick up anything that you've got plugged in. So select whatever it is you're using. Click on this a second time, and it'll then start counting backwards from 10 minutes as it's doing right there. So it's recording everything that I'm saying through my microphone, just through my web browser. So I can use this time, as I say, to introduce a song that's coming up next. I can ask people to get in touch. I could interview someone, or I can just read from something. You've got 10 minutes to play around with, so it's a great amount of time to really experiment with it. And, if you've got a mixing desk plugged in here and you've got a phone line plugged into that and you've got someone on the phone, like you're doing an interview, record it through here. Anything that's plugged into the equipment you've selected here will be recorded through this piece of kit. So it's really, really cool. But when you're happy, you click on stop. You can listen back to it to make sure everything sounds okay when it turns green, that is. And of course, if you don't like it, you just clear it here and start again. But if you do like it, just give it a name. So I'll call this one Phil Intro 1, something like that. Create. It will then create that tag, and I can just place it wherever I want then. So it saves by default at the bottom, move it up to the top, and record as many of these as you like, scatter them throughout, and there we go. So this is particularly good if you've got a young team or you've got people who are not too sure about going live, or maybe you yourself are not sure about going live. You don't have to. Build a playlist, record your voice tracks. It's a great way of building up confidence in yourself and your team by just listening back to maybe what you sound like or seeing how they gel. So this is a great way of doing it. And anyone who has at least the music controller access will be able to use voice tracks. And again, I'll show you about the user roles towards the end. When you're happy with your playlist, click save, and it's time to schedule. So click on schedule. This is what you'll see. You'll see days of the week along the top, times down by the side. As I scroll through my schedule, you'll see what I have. So I have 2 shows. One show, 9 to 12, a live show with Alan, and then a live show with Graham, 6 till 9. Now, if you remember, I said that default playlist will automatically fade in during any gap in your schedule. And there just so happens to be a large gap here every afternoon between 12 and 6. And the software doesn't miss a beat. What it's going to know is when this show finishes, it knows nothing's coming up next. So as Alan fades out when he finishes his show, the default playlist will fade in and take over. And it will play as long as it needs to. It will play on loop if it needs to. It will always fill in that time. So if my default playlist was 1 hour long, it will play it 6 times on loop in this case. So, it will always fill in every second of the day. Now, of course, you could leave your schedule blank 24/7. Some people do that, and they just update their default playlist from time to time. That's a very quick and easy way of getting your station up and running. Maybe what you want to do first. Or what you can do is schedule specific playlists to play at specific times. So that's what I'll show you now. I'm going to do a show tomorrow on Friday in the afternoon. We'll say 2 till 4. So if I come to Friday here, make sure that's the right date. Yep, Friday, the 17th September. Great. And I'm going to click on 2. I'm going to drag it down to the time I would like the show to finish, which in this case, drag it down to 4. Now, when you let go of the mouse, you just need to confirm the details of this show. So first of all, when does it start? 2, how long is it? 2 hours. It therefore finishes at 4. Perfect. Now, currently, I've got it scheduled for Friday. But if I would like this to go on air on other days of the week, I can just select them. So if I wanted this to go on air on Saturday as well, select it, Tuesday, Wednesday, or every day. So you don't need to schedule the same shows every single day. We can duplicate it across the week. We can also duplicate it across weeks, plural. So, if you know this show is going to be on air at the same time, same week, I don't know, for the next 2 years, 6 months, something like that, click on week and put in a random date. So here I'm going to put, let's go a bit far out. Let's go, the 1st of April. There we go. Make a nice April Fools. So I'm going to play this station, this show rather, every day, every week up until the 1st of April next year. Now, before I create it, I need to go to the Advanced tab, and this is where you select what type of show this is going to be. So if I come to playlist, as you can expect from what it suggests, the playlist just means I'm going to play a playlist that I've made, one that I've made before. So if I come to the playlist section here at the top, click on this drop down menu, and you'll see all the shows you've made. So the Phil show is the one I want to play. So if I click on that, this just means I'm confirming I want to play the Phil's show playlist 2 till 4 every day, every week for the next, 6, 7 months, something like that. And if I'm happy with that, I'm going to click on Create Event, give it a couple of seconds, and there we go. My pre-recorded show has been scheduled just like that. It's going to start playing at 2, and it's going to automatically fade out at 4. Whatever's in the Phil's show playlist will just play automatically during this time. And that's how easy it is to schedule something pre-recorded and automated. Just upload your media, build a playlist, and then tell the software what time you'd like that playlist to play, and it will do it for you. As I said, even with your computer or your internet off, doesn't matter. This will automatically fade in at this time and automatically fade out at that time seamlessly. Now, some people ask me, well, what if if there's a track playing that's and it comes to the end of the show, do I want it to fade out earlier than it needs to? Well, it doesn't have to. If I just click back on this, you'll see a feature called Overrun. I thought I'd bring this up because we get a lot of questions about this. People unsure of what it actually does. What this does is, by default, when it's turned off, if I was halfway through a song as it approached 4 o'clock, it will just fade out. Doesn't matter how far into something is, it will fade out in favor of my next show starting at 4 o'clock. If you turn Overrun on, the software will allow the currently playing song to play in its entirety before the next show starts. So it does mean your next show may start a couple of minutes late, but arguably it can sound a little bit better letting that music finish before the top of the hour. So turn it on or turn it off. It's totally up to you. It's a great tool to have. While I'm here, I might as well show you what a live DJ setup looks like. So what you want to do is click on the event. You can edit the days, the times, whatever you like. But what I'm going to edit is back on the Advanced tab where it says Event Type. I'm going to select Live DJ. Now, when you choose a live DJ, you need to confirm with Radio.co which user this is going to be, because the software will only give that specific person the ability to go live at that time. So click on this drop-down menu and you will see everyone that you've invited onto your account. Because as I said, you can invite people, they can log in remotely and go live. I'll select myself here. And this just means it's me. I'm telling it I'm going to go live during the show. And, if anyone else tries, if Jack tries to log in, he won't be able to go live because, well, he's not me. I'm going to record the broadcast because I would like to turn it into a podcast or maybe repeat it later on in the week. And if I'm happy with all these changes I've made, I'm just going to click on Update Event, just like so. Give it a couple of seconds and it's ready to go. There we go, just like that. This show is going to automatically fade in at 2 and I'm going to automatically fade out at 4. So as long as I log in before 2 o'clock and I get connected through our Windows Broadcaster or through BUT, then as soon as it's 2 o'clock, I'll fade in and away I go. And what you're doing with a live show is the software is just giving you permission to do whatever you want during that time. So as long as when you connect to the broadcaster or BUT, as long as you've chosen what specific equipment you're using or software you're using for broadcasting through, you can do whatever you want through that piece of equipment for this 2-hour period here. Now, if there are any technical difficulties, like I don't know, there's a power cut, my internet connection gets cut out, or I'm late for any reason, then to avoid it going to any dead air and awkward silence, you'll always have a backup playlist ready to go. And this will be whatever playlist you've selected here when you have a live DJ chosen. That will always play in the event of a loss of connection or no connection at all. So if I don't connect before the start of my show, it will play. If during the middle of my show there's a power cut, I therefore disconnect because my internet's gone, this will fade in and take over because, again, it's all being powered by us. We keep everything rolling for you. As soon as I reconnect, that backup playlist will fade out. I'll fade back in. And you know that recording has been enabled because, well, it says so. So you know as soon as it finishes, I have an MP3 file of that show. And that's what's involved in doing a live show. Just tell the software who's going live and at what time they're going live. And as long as that specific person logs in, they absolutely will go live on air and they can do whatever they want during that time. And then the last programming option to quickly show you is what I mentioned before, the live relays. Just a reminder, this allows you to schedule another online feed from another online radio station. Choose which of your relays that you want to play. Play Ryan Seacrest show here. And what it would do is it will fade in the exact same way any of your shows or live events are. What it will do is whatever Ryan Seacrest is playing on his particular radio station, following that listen link, it will broadcast it on our station as well. The only difference between us and Ryan is if Ryan has technical difficulties and his station gets shut off, doesn't matter with us because we still have a backup place ready to go. So if you've got other radio stations or there's a network and you'd like the same show to go on multiple stations, have it broadcasting live or pre-recorded from one station and then just relay it across your other stations. So it's great for syndicated content. If you want to delete anything, select it, click on delete all of them, and it takes a second or so. So you can see it's incredibly quick and efficient to create, edit, and delete all of your shows. It really is that simple to begin broadcasting. So, there's no excuse to at least give it a go. Now, the all-important question, Phil, how on earth do people listen to this station? Well, first of all, you'll want to go to the Listen tab here. And there are a couple of different ways to stream your station out of the box. First of all, there is this. This is a unique URL that's automatically given to you when you create your account. Now, this URL, it can be clicked on, and when it does, it will open up a blank browser tab on your computer or your smartphone, and it just streams the station. Now, it's a really easy way for people listening. It's just a click and that's it. Away they go. But it's not the most attractive way of listening because, well, it's a black screen. There's nothing to look at apart from a simple play button. But, it's an easy way of listening, so it is a good option for people to use. And you can use this URL in a number of internet radio directories, such as Streamer. Those directories see hundreds and thousands of people going through them every single day, and they are still proven to be very popular ways that people listen to online radio. So we have a guide on over 30 that you can submit to. So, there's no harm in submitting to all of them if you want to. Now, if you have a website or a website is something you want to have eventually, then you would in fact ignore that and instead go to the web player section here. This is where you build a web player. And this web player can feature artwork, like you can see here. It can display track information for what you're playing. It can display artwork for your station, the branding for your station, maybe the branding for a particular show, maybe a picture of one of your DJs. It's totally up to you, but this is just something more visually appealing, and you can direct people to it through a unique domain name for your station. So arguably, it's more beneficial to have your own public website and direct people there to listen because, as you see, this is a more attractive way of people listening. Now, it's not always essential to have a website. It's proven to be just as popular to have active Facebook and Twitter pages. So, still direct people to those to find your listen link that way. Or alternatively, for the most efficient and probably trendier way of listening to online radio, direct them to your very own mobile app. So if I just jump down to the add-on section here, what this does is this takes you to a number of add-ons that you can make available to your station. They do require an extra subscription fee on top of your plan, depending on which one you have. Some of them are included at no extra cost. But ultimately, this is an iPhone app and an Android app dedicated to your station that you can build and have released in just a couple of weeks, a week or two, and it'll be available. These apps are completely white labeled, so they don't feature any Radio.co branding. They don't feature any other station. It's purely yours. You decide the name of the app, the look of it, the color scheme, logos, even down to what the description on the Apple App Store, what it needs to say. All you do is click on Get Started and you'll add it to your add-on section here. And this is what the iOS app would look like, for example. You decide the name and the look for your app, color scheme, links to social media, websites, YouTube channels. I say the description for your app here. And then you would then send that to us. We review it, we authorize it, and we build it for you. And, we'll get it released, as I say, within a week or two, usually. But this is a great and easy way. So, if you're like me and you're just not a mobile app developer, I don't know the first thing about mobile app development, which is good because I just follow this step-by-step guide and send it to the team, part of the team in the company that do know how to build apps. As I mentioned, some of them are included in our plans. If you subscribe to our gold plan, you'll find an Android app and an Alexa skill included at no extra cost to have your station available worldwide on Amazon Echo devices. If you subscribe to our pro plan, all three of these will be included at no extra cost. Otherwise, on our light, our bronze, or our silver plan, you can add any of these on for an extra $15 or $10 a month here. And if you wanted to build a website through us, you absolutely can. For $12 a month, we'll give you all the tools to build your very own website. We'll even give you a domain name if you haven't got one already. So, that's why we like to say we're the ultimate platform for online radio. We'll give you everything that you need, so there's no real need to go elsewhere. Stick with us. Requests. This is a great little tool that we have, and this is something that you can embed onto your website. And what it does is it allows people to request tracks from a certain pool of tracks that you've made available. You'd come to Widget. You click on Create Widget here. Give this one Fill Demo Widget. Click on Create Widget. And what it would do is it would then allow you to change the color scheme of what your widget wants to look like. Just like so. There we go. Oh, pretty garish there, but it's to give you a bit, give you an idea, a bit nuclear. But what this will allow you to do is you can choose from a certain tag. So maybe you've got 500 tracks tagged as pop, and you'd like people to just choose from that collection. That's great. That's how you do it. They will choose these tracks. They will highlight them. and they will then go into your request manager. Any tracks that have been requested will be listed here, and you can then place them in through a play request tag. Place that play request tag in your playlist, and it will play a brand new request anytime that one has been made. So it's a great little tool to have. And speaking of embedding on your website, you can also embed a fantastic schedule widget, which will look something along the lines of this. It comes in different color schemes. You can have different messages, different artwork, and this will display all the shows you have coming up across the week. You can have it stretched across your web page or a specific fixed size like that, even light and dark mode, like so. So this is a great way to make people aware of what's playing on your station whilst they're actually listening to it. Statistics, this is a way to monitor your station's performance, and we keep all information regarding your station for a maximum of 60 days at a time. So I'm currently looking at the last 30, and you can see, how many people have been listening, averagely how long each person has been listening for, but more important details like where in the world my global station is being listened to. Quite an eclectic collection of countries here. Even details like how are they listening, or what devices, what web browsers are they using. All that information is available here. Now, if you want to know who's listening to your station right this second, you'd come to real time. And this is where you'll see your real-time stats. Where in the world is your audience coming from right now? So I have an audience member based in Bournemouth, beautiful little city in the UK. I can see exactly which borough they're based in. I can see how they're listening. I can see when they started listening, and even how much bandwidth they're using up. You can always kick and ban people from listening as well if you suspect them of being a little funny, maybe. But this is where you'll find your live details. Reports. Reports is primarily for licensing purposes. So licensing is probably the most popular question we get asked on a daily basis. I'm sure some of you have potentially asked about it already. How it works is if you plan to play copyrighted material, if you plan to play music, you should really get a license. It's something we strongly recommend getting. And by having a license, it gives you the legal thumbs up and the green light to play pretty much whatever you like. Because what happens is you will pay a yearly fee to a licensing organization. And out of that fee, they will pay royalties to the artists that you've played on your station. But in order for them to know what you've played, you will need to give them track reports. So you come to reports, track summary, and give them the time frame that they want, which could typically be 30 days. So again, we keep all this information for a maximum of 60. So make a habit of downloading these reports as often as you can. But what this will do is this will load up all the tracks I've played, like so, how many times each of these tracks has played, how many people actually listen to it. You can download this report, email it off to the organization that you're working with, and they'll know who to pay and how much to pay. Licenses come with lots of different costs, lots of different regulations, depending on who it is you work with, and depending on which country you're broadcasting from. So we can only give general, vague advice like what I've just given you there. For the most accurate information regarding licensing, you will need to contact your local licensing organization. And you can find lots of guidance and advice and links to lots of organizations on our website. Even if you go on Google and type in Radio.co licensing, you'll find a great article all about lots of organizations you can work with. This is also a good tool actually for advertising. So if you have an advert playing, like this, for example, say this was an advert, I know how many times it played, how many people listen to it. So these sorts of reports you can take to your advertisers. Last couple of things, we have settings, really for you to have a little play around with, but this is where you adjust how your station sounds, how it looks, the sound quality, how your tracks fade in and fade out of each other. Your streaming quality can be a maximum of 192 kbps, which is high definition sound. But if you subscribe to our Pro plan, we'll actually let you stream to 320, which is for Pro studio sound. Fantastic, rich sound. Security measures, you can block entire countries from listening to your station if you wanted to. You can protect your station from rippers and torrent sites. You can integrate your station with, as I say, our podcasting platform. Twitter can tweet out new tracks that you're playing. And then billing information is here. So the reason why I'm showing you this is because, as I mentioned before, you can upgrade and downgrade your plan as often as you like, whenever you want. And you don't need to come to us to do it. Anything to do with what you're paying for and how you're paying for it is all done here through the billing. So if you started off on a smaller plan and you wanted access to more features or more storage space, for example, just upgrade it and you'll instantly switch to the higher plan. And then finally, users. This is how you manage everyone that's associated with your account. And as a reminder, anyone who has access to your account can log into it completely remotely, broadcast live, or even help you manage your station. But first, they do need to be invited. So you'd come here. If you click on invite a user here, enter their name. So if it was me, Phil, my email address, my role. So we have 4 different roles, 5 technically. There's one station owner, that'll be you if you set the account up. Station manager, they have the same roles as the owner. The only difference is they can't see billing information. Music controller, they can upload content, they can build shows, they can voice track, they can go live, but they can't access any of your settings. And then we have DJ and guest DJ. What these do is DJ can log in remotely and host a live show, as can a guest DJ. The difference between those is a guest DJ can't see how many people are listening to the station, whilst a DJ can. So if you would like to keep your audience figures a secret, give people guest DJ access and they can't see that information. But regardless, the only things they can do is log in remotely, go live when they've been told to, and log back out. That's it. But if you were to invite me, click on DJ, click the invite button. I'll get an email from Radio.co about I've been invited to join a station, and I'll follow those instructions in the email, and I'll be able to set my own unique login in details so I can log in again from any computer from anywhere in the world. All I need is an internet connection and my computer, and I'm ready to go live whenever you've told me to. And there we go, everyone. That's kind of the end of the crash course there. I hope it has been helpful and you've been able to see really what the platform is capable of, both, well, obviously the platform, what that's capable of, but also what are you going to be capable of. It really, really doesn't take much time at all to get started. You can literally begin broadcasting in minutes. Just create an account, upload a couple of tracks, turn your station on air, and away you go. It's really, really that simple. Especially with your default playlist, just pop your tracks in there and just let it roll for you for 24/7. If you want to recap anything that I've seen here, this video will be available when we finish live, so do check it out. We also do have a lot of tutorials about the platform itself across our Radio.co University and our help center at help.radio.co. So if you want to refamiliarize yourself with anything to do with the platform, got tons of videos. We've got at least 12 months worth of videos of me doing these demonstrations for you. So plenty available to really help you get the most out of your Radio.co subscription. Okay, so questions. So as I said, a number of you have already sent me questions beforehand. So I'm just going to share the correct screen just for that. So these are some questions that you may have already, and these could prove very, very useful for you. And if you do have questions, I can see a couple have come through already. If you do have questions you want to ask, then please do write them into the YouTube box or the Facebook box, wherever you're watching this stream, and ask them, and I'll try and get through as many as possible. Okay, so questions here. So the first question is from Ronan, and he's asked, what equipment do I need to get started? Great question, Ronan, and simple answer is not a lot. I always say the very least you need is an average powered Windows or Mac computer, a internet connection, and a USB microphone. That's pretty much all you need to get started. And the reason we say an average powered computer is because if you remember, the software is entirely cloud-based, so it doesn't actually rely on your computer power. It relies on your internet connection, or rather our server connection. So if you're going live, all you need is your internet connection and a USB microphone. Of course, if you want control over your music, if you're doing music shows, you may want to invest in a mixing desk and plugging a music source into it, like a mobile phone or a tablet, plugging that into your mixing desk and putting Spotify on it, maybe something like that. Or you may want to use some DJ software, something like Virtual DJ, Serato, Tractor. Those are 3 very, very good, very friendly DJ softwares that you can line up tracks fade them in and, talking between them. It's pretty much a digital version of a desk, really. And we have help guides about all of those. So if you want to see how they look, how they may work for you, go to help.radio.co and enter any of those, like virtual DJ, and you can have a look. For at least getting started, computer, Windows or Mac, works fine on both, internet connection and USB microphone. The next question here is from, do apologize if I butcher your name, Bongivangeli has asked, can Radio.co be used for terrestrial radio? Yes, it can in two sorts of ways. So you can use Radio.co as a way of providing your AM or FM station with an online presence, and your Radio.co station will simply act as a 24/7 live stream in that case. So if you were just using Radio.co simply as a means of taking your FM and AM station online, you wouldn't actually use any of our programming tools like our scheduling, automation and stuff. You'd just be using it simply as a live relay 24/7. So you'll still rely on the software that you have currently in your FM and AM studio. The only difference is you're feeding it through to Radio.co. We provide an online version of your stream, which can then be injected into mobile phone apps, smart speaker apps. So it doesn't actually take much time and effort to set this up as well, particularly with a piece of equipment called a Barrix in-streamer. There may be some variances of them available, but the Barrix, that's B-A-R-I-X, Barrix in-streamer. That's a fantastic and really stable way of connecting an FM or AM transmission to an online hosting platform like ours. So with that, you'll have absolutely zero problems broadcasting reliably through Radio.co with your FM and AM station. Now, on the flip side of that, although Radio.co is exclusively an online radio platform, it can technically be used to provide programming tools for your FM or AM station. If you wanted to upgrade the software that you have currently, it will require a permanent 24/7 internet connection, however. So when that connection is lost, your FM audience will be in silence because they're not hearing the feed from Radio.co, but your online audience won't know anything's happened because they'll continue listening because, again, it's powered by us. So yeah, it is possible to use Radio.co for to provide the programming side of an FM and AM studio. You just need to maintain a permanent, stable 24/7 internet connection to your studio computer, and your studio computer will just play out the Radio.co feed. Just press that web player or that URL, and it will just play it out 24/7. So I do hope that makes a bit more sense. If you would like a bit more instruction on how it works, we've got a fantastic article. If you type in Radio.co FM, there's a great article that James put together all about it. And a few months ago, I actually did a webinar about how to use Radio.co for both versions of that FM and AM broadcasting. So you'll find that on our YouTube channel. So do check that out. Next question is from David. How do people who run online stations typically make money? It's really the big question, this, isn't it? It is possible to make money from your online station, but you can't expect it to happen overnight, just like anything. Advertising with local businesses on your local radio station is the obvious way to go. And we live in an interesting time, I guess, where local businesses are looking for ways to make sure they remain or return to people's minds after these last turbulent 18 months. But of course, some of them may have suffered a little bit financially, so they want exposure for a reasonable price. And, if you're starting out on an online radio station, attracting these local businesses and asking them just to pay you a little bit to provide their messaging and commercials across your station. And if you wanted to make your own, you just need to record a dry ad through your voice tracking tool, and away you go. And one thing that's actually interesting, this came up in our community station seminar that we did last month. Typically, businesses may want to know how many listeners you have. However, what has proven to be far more reliable and yield arguably better results is by having an active social media presence instead. So you could have hundreds of listeners on your station, but you may have 50 followers on your Facebook page. Who is going to respond to your advertising more? the hundreds of listeners or the 50 loyal Facebook subscribers that are sharing all the posts that you do, liking everything that you do, and commenting. So even if you have not that many listeners on your station, but you have an active social media presence, that is often far more valuable to any local business. If you shared a picture of a bakery saying this bakery's open, they've got bread on sale, go and get it now while it's hot. If you share that on social media, you may get those 50 people, 10 people, something like that, commenting on it. They're the people that are going to go to that business and buy it. It's not the hundreds of people that are listening to your station that may not even be based, even a few miles around the local area. So concentrate on having an active social media presence, because you can take it to businesses and show them that social media presence is far more important than listeners. So don't let low listeners deter you away from trying to attract businesses, is kind of what we're saying. So I hope that's given you some advice, David. There's no really easy way of doing it. It's just being persistent, and just attracting local businesses is the best way of doing it. Because there's a lot of local businesses not getting heard, so it's the best way to do it. So I hope that has helped, David, to some regards there. We've got Joanne. How can I quickly turn my radio station into a podcast too? So if you have a talk show and you want to turn it into a podcast, then luckily it is very, very quick to do. As I showed you earlier, you can take that live show that you've just recorded, upload it to something like Radio.co, or download it and upload it somewhere else. And it can literally take a couple of minutes just to do. So if it's a live talk show that you're doing, purely talk, very quick turnaround. As soon as it's finished, download it or upload it, and away you go. They'll then gradually appear on directories like Spotify, within an hour or two. It can be slow to roll out onto those platforms, but they will be there eventually. Now, if it's a music show you have, then you will need to remove all music from your podcast, as well. Podcasts are technically talk-based platforms, so you shouldn't have any music in your podcasts anyway. In fact, almost all of the podcast directories, like Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts rather, they don't allow music. And as soon as they detect any copyrighted material in your episode, they'll just remove it at all. Not the music, they'll just remove the entire podcast itself. So get rid of all music content within your shows and repackage it with just the talk bits in between. And in fact, that's what a lot of major radio stations are doing, like BBC Radio 1, the biggest radio station here in the UK, arguably. The most popular podcasts that are available on a daily or a weekly basis are these edited down versions of The Breakfast Show or The Drive Show, where they've cut out all the music. What's left? It's all the banter, it's all the talking in between, and that's what people want to hear. So it's not a quick way of doing it, but it's a good way of marketing your station. So if you're looking for quick, do it as a talk show, upload it within minutes. If you want it to be effective, spend a bit of time editing all your music out, or just don't play any music at all. Hope that's helped, Joanne. Michael, a technical question. What internet speed do I need for broadcasting? Sorry, I didn't mention this before in the equipment question from Ronan. So with your internet connection, so for any automated shows that you're doing, your internet connection obviously won't matter because it's powered by us. So you may have no internet connection, but if your content is automated, it's going out anyway because it's us that are doing it. So don't worry about that for most of the time. For live broadcasting, we recommend having an upload speed of at least 2 megabytes. And remember, this is only for broadcasting live. So as long as you have at least 2 megabytes of upload speed, you shouldn't have any issues going live. Obviously, but the faster and the more stable the connection, the better, really. If you do have low internet speed, upload speed, I do recommend turning the bit rate of your station down. Don't put your station's bit rate right to the top if it's going to be a struggle to actually stream and for your station to be heard at that bit rate. So bring it down, even bringing it down to 128 or even something like 96, which is like DAB level. If a lot of people are listening to your station from mobile devices, they're not going to notice the difference. So bring your bit rate down if you do struggle to have a stable, fast internet connection. But as long as it's at least 2 megabytes, you should be absolutely fine. And the last question I've been asked beforehand is from Ankar, who's asked, is it possible to broadcast video content on Radio.co? Yes, it is. It's not possible to broadcast or host video content on Radio.co. So it's strictly an audio platform, as you know, but it can be possible to broadcast video content alongside Radio.co. So you will need to use something like OBS or StreamYard. That's what we're using right now. Something like OBS will allow you to stream a video content alongside audio content. So you can take your Radio.co audio feed alongside a video feed that you've set up and broadcast it simultaneously to things like YouTube and Facebook Live. Like, again, exactly like what we're doing here. Similarly to the podcasting question before, if YouTube or Facebook detects that you're playing any copyrighted material and music through your feeds, they will most likely cut it, your feed, and that's it. You'll be left in silence. It's because they have copyright detection built into the software, and they will put an end to it as soon as they can. So my advice is, if you are broadcasting video to platforms like that, keep it strictly talk, or be prepared to be cut. Of course, if you wanted to stream to something like your own website that doesn't abide by the platforms, then yeah, you still need something like OBS or StreamYard. And again, information like this is available on our website. If you go on our blog, on our website, go to blog, one of the options at the top, type in Facebook, and it will come with a couple of guides about YouTube and Facebook and broadcasting live to there. So it is possible. You just need something else to work alongside it. Cool. Well, there we go. That's it for my questions that have been asked beforehand. Anyway, let's have a look what people have asked me so far. And like I said, I've got a few minutes left, so I'll go through as many of these as possible. I'll wet my whistle. So we've got right at the top here. Alice says, can I broadcast through my own website? Yes, you can. That's through the web player. So if you have your own website, direct people there and embed one of our Radio.co web players onto it. And again, these will be white labeled, so they don't need to feature any Radio.co branding on them at all. They can feature your logos, artwork. But yes, if you have your own website, you're kind of on the up. You've got a direction for people to go to. So yeah, absolutely a good idea to do. Joe says, do I need a license to broadcast live? Yes, I've already answered that already, but yeah, the answer is yes, but we strongly recommend it. If it's talk content you're doing, you don't need a license. If you're playing your own original content, so stuff you've actually written and own, you don't need a license. It's strictly for copyrighted material that you don't own. You do need a license, and we don't provide it ourselves, so you will need to go elsewhere. If you'd like a bit more direction with licensing, feel free, Joe, to email me, studio@radio.co, and I can point you in the right direction. Or go on Google, type in radio.co licensing, and I'm sure you'll find one of our guides there. Rick says, again, based on licensing, some licenses limit the number of songs per album or number of songs per artist during a set time. Does your software track this? We don't track it automatically, but it is the case of what you said. A lot of licenses may only want one artist to be played no more than 3 times within an hour, something like that. We don't automatically track that. I mean, of course, if you're building tracks at random, if you've got a lot of tracks in the tags, then it's probably not that likely the same artist is going to be repeated too many times, but you never know. If you're building your tracks manually, moving your tracks across, I would make sure that you or whoever's building the shows is aware that that rule does exist. So yeah, fortunately, it's nothing that we do automatically. It's more of a manual effort. Joe's asked again, can I play any song I want or just the ones on your list? The ones I had on my station were ones that we've uploaded ourselves. So when you create your station, you will need to upload any content that you want to play. You won't find anything on here. We have a great list of places you can download and purchase music from. I Like Music is a particularly really, really good site I like to direct people to, so have a look there. Alex, can I send my Radio.co feed to DAB multiplex servers? Yes, you can, Alex. And in fact, one of the stations we used to run as a company called MCR Live, we did exactly that. How it would work with DAB is we have no involvement in actually getting the DAB set up for you. So you would need to approach your local DAB multiplex and make all the arrangements and the payments and getting all that sorted. What we'll give you is the final piece of the puzzle, really, the last 1%, which is either your station's URL, which you'll find on your account anyway, or they may want to connect to something like But, and where it's streaming simultaneously online and through DAB. So yes, it is possible, just we don't have any involvement in it, unfortunately. Again, pretty much like every topic I'm sure people are going to be asking about, we do have articles and guides about this. So, that's why we say we're got so many resources about online broadcasting. So, go to our blog and type in DAB, and you'll find at least a couple of guides about how that actually works. Jay's asked, can I talk over the music that plays out? Absolutely. As I said, when you're doing a live show, you're just telling the software which equipment you're using. So it permits you to play whatever you want from that piece of equipment. So if you've got a mixing desk with your microphones and a music source plugged into it, absolutely fade in, fade out, talk over your tracks. You can do whatever you want on your station, particularly if it's live. You have freedom to do whatever you like. So absolutely, whatever ideas and direction you have for your station, go mad, go wild. And then I'm looking at the time, so I'd say this is the last question we've got here from Desmond. Can I watch this live stream back later? Good question to finish on. The answer is yes, Desmond. Yes. So if you've missed any of this, and this is for anyone, if you've missed any of this, it will be available as soon as I stop talking. So I guess the sooner I stop, the sooner you can start watching it from the start. But yeah, across our YouTube channel, you'll find lots of great guides like here on the slide. So I always recommend subscribing to our Radio.co YouTube channel and James Mulvaney, our founder, his YouTube channel, because he can, both of us contain fantastic resources, things that, radio directories, how to make money, obviously based on a question we had before, what your apps might look like, even tours around studios so you know how they look and what people are doing. So many resources here about everything to do with online radio. So go to YouTube, subscribe to both of those channels, go to our website, email me, studio@radio.co, go to our help center, help.radio.co. I know first and foremost, we're a software company and we want you to invest and buy our software, but I'm in the market for helping people begin their online radio station. So come to our website, talk to me about advice you want for your online radio. It's great if you broadcast through us because we've got the best platform for you. You'll find it incredibly easy to do. But if you just want general advice and reassurance that it's all going to go okay, please send me an email, studio@radio.co, and I will help in whatever and as many ways as I possibly can. Well, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. It's been a pleasure as always. I'll be back again next month with, I think, a themed talk. If you've got any ideas of what you'd like me to cover, in the past I've done school stations, private company stations, community stations. If you've got an idea on a theme or just a direction you'd like me to go in for my next monthly talk, again, let me know, studio@radio.co, or leave a comment below. And you never know, I might talk about it next month. Until then, guys, thank you very much once again for joining me. My name has been Phil, and happy broadcasting, and talk to you soon. Take care.
Starting a radio station has never been easier. Click here and I'll take you to a free guide which shows you exactly how you can start a radio station with minimal fuss, no technical headaches, plus also start getting those all-important listeners. How does that sound? Click here and I will take you to my free guide.